Gerald McCoy, NFL Network analyst and six-time Pro Bowler. Third overall pick and 2010 out of Oklahoma. You can see him all season long, NFL Game Day morning, Sundays at 9 a.m. Eastern on NFL Network. Great to see you again. What advice would you give Jaxson Dart with his style of play?
First off, good morning. How you doing? Danny. I always love coming back. First off, good morning. Secondly, man, there's a fine line between trying to make a play and dangerous play. You are paid to deliver the ball with your arm. That's what you're paid to do. Everything outside of that is extra. Okay. He has to start to understand when is the time to run and how to run. Nobody's telling him not to run because we've seen running quarterbacks before. But there's a way to do it. There's a reason that some running quarterbacks don't get hurt, don't get hit the way they get hit. He wants to get as much as he can out of this run instead of taking what they're giving you. When you see Baker Mayfield doing the extra or whatever, trying to get the extra yard is necessary at the time. Other than that, you see Lamar Jackson, he make his move, he make you miss, he get out of bounds when he get down. You see Jalen Hurts, he get his yards, whatever, he get down. Michael Vick, he run, he get down. Cam Newton went through this, and Cam Newton is 6'6", 260, and he was taking these hits. And even Cam started to understand, forget all that. I'm getting down or I'm getting out of bounds. If he wants to have a long career, which he should have because he's extremely talented, he has to understand, man, there's times when you have to go that extra mile, and then there's times where you need to just get what you can get and then get down. He's trying so bad to make a play because of what's around him and everything that he feels like the world is on his shoulders, that it's going to be a detriment for him, and you don't want to see that happen.
Yeah, he can't run like Scattaboo does, who can take contact. But I would have RG3 talk to Jaxson Dart because RG3 might be the fastest quarterback who's ever played that position. But you got to be smart when you scramble, when you decide you want to take on a hit, or you're not going to get out of bounds.
Yeah, my brother Akeem Talib, we're on a show called The Gridiron. It's about underdog fantasy. And he says this all the time. If you want to do running back stuff, you have to deal with running back stuff. So if you want to go in there and duck your shoulder and try to run this dude over and all that, you got to take what comes with that, which is what comes with being a running back. Getting hit all in your knees. You might take a couple extra hits. Your shoulder's going to be banged all up and all that. But that's what running backs do. Running backs are built to deal with that. You are a quarterback. Don't do running back stuff, but want to deal with it like a quarterback. If you're going to do running back stuff, you got to deal with running back stuff. I love that he says that because it's true.
What does Jonathan Taylor have to do to win the MVP?
Just be consistent the rest of the year. What he's doing right now at this level is incredible. And if any year is the year to go win it, it's this year because there's not any quarterback that's like, wow, look at what this guy's doing. Like last year, what Lamar was doing was unprecedented. What Josh Allen was able to do to elevate his team, putting his team on his back, to have the games he was having was freaking it. That game he had out in LA versus the Rams, freaking incredible. We're not seeing those types of games from quarterbacks. So if he's consistently like what he just did yesterday versus the Falcons, that's an MVP game. So when he wins the award, they're going to look back to everybody has that game. That's his MVP game. Now he has to have these consistent moments throughout the year. See, Saquon, any other year would have been the MVP last year. But look at what he was up against. Jonathan Taylor's not up against that this year. So he just has to be consistent with what he's doing, give us one more of those like tight games, and then consistently play the rest of the year and they keep winning, I think he'll win MVP.
Yeah, I don't think he will because we've created the Offensive Player of the Year award, and
Mm-hmm.
that's hey, we're going to give it to a running back or a wide receiver, and I think
Yeah, well,
that's what
well,
he'll get.
that's yeah, well, that's not right because here's the evidence, and this is me. Indy fans, I don't care how y'all feel, y'all are fans of your team, y'all not paying attention. This is the most valuable player. Okay. Drake May is playing far beyond his years. He's playing great. He is. Matthew Stafford is playing phenomenal. He's playing great. Okay. But you see yesterday and the last 2 weeks is why Jonathan Taylor should be at the top of the MVP race. When Pittsburgh took Jonathan Taylor out of the game, we seen what happened to the team. It was not the same team when Jonathan Taylor did not take over the game. We seen yesterday. I don't care. Everybody likes to look at numbers. What did your eyes tell you? When you're watching this game, Daniel Jones, interception, 3 fumbles, one, all of them really should have been taken away. But that would have been another 2 to 3 turnovers from the quarterback. Okay. So what do? Stop depending on him. Give it to the running back. 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 He's the reason that game was even won. Everybody wants to talk about that one throw he made. He's the quarterback. We need you to make a throw. Make a throw, please. Okay. But who made all the key plays? Who put when they needed something to happen, they put it on Jonathan Taylor. That is a running back. Why is he running us to a win versus a team where our quarterback should be doing it? Granted, I understand the Falcons are a good pass defense. However, that's not what we seen yesterday from Daniel Jones, what we've been seeing. So the last 2 weeks should be evidence that that guy is the MVP.
Talking to Gerald McCoy, NFL Network analyst. You can see him NFL Game Day morning, Sundays at 9 a.m. Eastern on NFL Network. Most disappointing team so far is who?
Oh, most disappointing team? Yeah. Right now, it's a 2-man race. Now, granted, one of the main player got hurt, but the Baltimore Ravens, you expected them to be a lot better at this point, especially defensively, and the Buffalo Bills. Like, but a lot of people had both of those teams in the Super Bowl. Now, a lot of people are wondering if e- at a point now it's a race of Baltimore gets in if they can win the division, and Buffalo, with how they're looking up and down, how they looked against Kansas City, it was almost like that was their Super Bowl. Then you go down to Miami, it's like, what the heck happened? So I would say both of those two teams because of the expectations. Like the Packers, a lot of people can say, well, the Packers, they are losing these games they shouldn't lose, but Packers were a good team, but they were in the mix. Not people had them in the Super Bowl. A lot of people had either Buffalo or Baltimore in the Super Bowl, and where they are right now, that's not what we're seeing. So I would say those two teams.
Yeah, I think the Ravens are going to win their division.
Yeah, they definitely have a shot because if you look at the schedule, with what they have left, the defense is playing much more improved. And
Well,
I
even
mean, Lamar is
Pittsburgh.
clearly, yeah, Lamar. Yeah, like you look at Pittsburgh, they got to play Pittsburgh twice. Pittsburgh is so you don't know what you're gonna get from them. Like they'll play a game like they did versus the Colts, and then they'll do what they did last night, and it's like, yeah. So yeah, Pittsburgh has the harder schedule. So yeah, Baltimore's probably gonna win the division, so they'll get in. But even so, what we've seen from them all year is like you watch the Baltimore Ravens, like, yeah. Then you watch the Buffalo Bills, it's like, what the heck is going on? So I would say those two teams, if I'm looking at like actual disappointing teams, for you expected more.
Do you ever land on a quarterback? Like try to land on a quarterback? Like
No,
no?
it just happens. You play the game is played. This is what I say to anybody, and this is what bothers me about these rules. Um, is the people who are making the rules have been on the field, on the grass, when the game is being played. Not just in the game, but practice, workouts. combine, you've seen how fast these athletes move. You've seen how fast this game is. Defensive linemen are taught you have 2.3 seconds to get to the quarterback. That's what we're taught. That's the clock in our head. So imagine how fast you have to be moving to get to the quarterback that fast. It's not like you getting off the ball and you just running a straight line and going to hit him in 2 seconds. You got to get past another professional athlete who might be bigger, stronger than you, and has help. So once I get there, why do you think that we glorify a person who can get to the quarterback and get him on the ground with the ball in his hand? When we do that, it's glorified by everybody. It's called a sack. When you get 10 of those, you're put in a different level. There are 17 games now. The average game, you're playing offensive snaps, 60 snaps. Okay, defensively, you might get 35 to 40. So if you calculate all of that and you can get to the quarterback 10 times, you're put into the elite category. That's how hard it is to do it. So when you're doing that, you're not thinking about, oh, let me fall on the side of him when I get to him. You're thinking, get him on the ground by any means necessary. So this, oh, you can't fall. And I heard Michael Strahan said something that I love that he said. They act like quarterbacks are not football players too. We're all football players. Us are football players. And it's just like you can't push this agenda of, oh, the game is fair and it's all about protection and all of we just trying to no. It's about keeping those guys healthy so we can see points, so we can make money. Because if we're talking about protection, why is it that a corner, offensive lineman who on average is 6'2", 6'3" and up, 320 pounds and up, there used to be where a corner who was probably 5'9" to 6 feet, 180 to 200 pounds, could cut an offensive lineman who was pulling. Well, now you can't do that anymore. And we're talking about fair or safe? Nah, man, come on, stop that.
I like
Stop
y'all.
it.
I like y'all fired up.
Yeah, because that's just the game is too fast for this, for y'all to still be like, come on, man, that's bad. That's bad.
Matthew Stafford, a Hall of Famer right now.
Heck yeah. Yeah, forget Matthew Stafford is going to be one of the people that forget the All Pros, forget the Pro Bowls and all that. What did your eyes tell you, and what do his numbers say? Matthew Stafford was a victim of arguably the greatest era of a string of quarterbacks that came through. Matthew Stafford was drafted in 2009, and he just ran into a string of quarterbacks: the Drew Brees, the Tom Brady's, the Aaron Rodgers. And right a couple years later, Cam Newton showed up. Matt Ryan was around. Phillip Rivers was around. All of Eli Manning was there. All of these people kept showing up, kept showing. Andrew Luck. All these people kept showing up, and Matthew Stafford just consistent. And now look at him. He might be playing the best football of his career. He's already won a Super Bowl. Okay. He left Detroit, came to the Rams, won the Super Bowl. Now he's just stacking it up at this point. Yes, Matthew Stafford is a Hall of Famer. Absolutely.
I think sacks are overrated.
Okay.
I think pressures and hurries are more important. You can have a sack in a game, and we might say, oh, man, he had a good game. We don't
watch the tape. Yep.
But I see pressures and hurries, and you might affect 15 plays as opposed to maybe one with that sack. I think we focus too much on the sacks and not enough on the hurries, the pressures that defensive linemen have.
You know, we call that, it's a word for it. Oh, it's called smart. We call that being smart. You actually watch the game. A lot of people look at the number. Okay, look at the number. All right. Even when I played, I'm not going to give you 12 to 15 sacks, but go watch the game. I'm in the backfield, most plays, disrupting something. I'm on the quarterback. He can't just sit back there and hold the ball. I'm moving him off the spot. All of that. That's what Micah does. Micah, so everybody's looking at I'll tell you even better one. Max Crosby. If you go look at Max Crosby's stats right now, go look at Max Crosby's stats, and then go look at other defensive end stats, you're going to say, oh, well, he's playing better than Max. Go watch the tape. Max is on the running back, the quarterback. He's in the backfield. He's disrupting. He's doing all of that. That's what makes Max one of the best in all of football, is because he's always disrupting something. It ain't always who gets him on the ground, because in basketball, there's a stat called an assist. So if I have the ball, because sometimes I feel like I got to break this down like I'm talking to 5-year-olds. If I have the ball and I give it to my teammate and he puts it in the basket, that's called an assist. Okay? They even have hockey assists where I pass to him, he passed to him, and then it goes in. Okay? They have those as well. So if I beat my man and I make the quarterback, he see me, he all over the place, and he run into my teammate, the teammate gets the stat. Who calls the play? See, I even teach my son that. I say, son, stop trying to be so caught up in making the play. Go disrupt stuff. You might not always make the play. So, Dan, you know what? You've been on the airways for a long time. You know why? Because you are SMART. You are smart. And you know what? It's Monday, so I'm going to use an even bigger word. You are intelligent, my brother. You are. Thank you for watching the tape.
That's how you get invited back, right there. That's smart on your part. That's how you get. Well, that's why I always talk about Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald is like up there with Reggie White, in my opinion. Like what he did when I get pressure up the middle, now the quarterback has to go right or left, just like you did. I think those guys are more valuable because they disrupt. They get the quarterback off his spot. If you're a great, an edge rusher on the right, I just go the other way. Up the middle, now I've gotten you off your spot. And Aaron was always great.
Of that? You want to know an example of that? So we always try and get pressure up the middle. Tom Brady, any quarterback hates pressure in their face because that's their window. A great example of why you need a guy up the middle is yesterday when the Falcons were playing the Colts, the edge guys were getting pressure. But Daniel Jones wasn't getting sacked because the D tackles wasn't getting pressure. They were sitting at the line of scrimmage. So it doesn't matter if these guys are right here. The quarterback is taught to, whether his launch point is 7 yards. When I say launch point, that's where his foot steps and he moves back up into the pocket. That's his launch point. So when we used to rush, when people be thinking defensive lineman, we just out there going, well, some of us are, but I wasn't. So you got to know the launch point. Some people's launch point is at 9 yards. Some people's launch point is at 10. You got to know the launch point because you got to know when to counter back. So if the edges come off the edge and they're just running around, what you taught never to run around the quarterback, he's just going to step up into the pocket. The O-line is taught to build a pocket for him. If there's no pressure up the middle, then he can step up in the pocket and make a throw. So that's why you need pressure up the middle. That's why you got to have a guy in the middle of your defense. That's why when Warren Sapp was doing what he was doing at the under tackle, it changed everything. Tony Dungy said, I need somebody in the middle of my defense that can make everything go. And that's what Sapp was. And then everybody just, copycatted it.
Great to talk to you. Thanks for joining
us.
Always.
Yes, sir.
We appreciate it.
Thank you.
That's Gerald McCoy, NFL Network analyst. Very smart guy, by the way. 6-time Pro Bowler. We'll take a break. We will give you our best and worst of the weekend right after this.